Hello everybody, it is really a pleasure to be participating in this conference. I have to apologize because I'm not physically with you guys in this conference. I couldn't leave Colombia this week because we are in a kind of a busy time developing the telecommunications projects around the country. For example, yesterday I was in the middle of a jungle, in the middle of the jungle that borders Panama. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth, in the department of Chocó. To get to this little rural place, I had to take 3 flights, then a flight in a helicopter for 1 hour. I got to this rural community where just around 600 people live. And I went to install a kiosk, a Vivi Digital kiosk. This is an internet community center, rural community center, where people go to have access to internet, and when there is a monitor, a person that teaches the community how to use internet, especially that person, this monitor, takes care of the students that go there. And right now, in this community, in the middle of the jungle, kids that go to the public school, they also have access to internet. And those kids have today the same opportunity to have access to the whole information society as any rich kid that goes to a private school here in Bogota or there in any school in the US or in the UK or anywhere in the world. And that's exactly what this government wants to do. What we are doing is making broadband a priority especially for poor people and for those people who live far away. And we are transforming this country, reducing poverty. And I want you to take a look at these images of those people around Colombia. We are installing 5,300 of these rural community centers operated by local people. And we are transforming completely the rural life of this country, giving farmers more opportunities to have access to markets. For example, in my hometown, we have a huge issue. Potatoes, we produce potatoes and the farmers are not making money out of that. But thanks to these community centers, to the deployment of new 3G and 4G networks, they are having access to internet, and now they are being able to sell potatoes at a better price directly to the consumer. And when you see these kids that just got tablets as part of the national strategy to massify the technology in schools, these kids are connected through wireless internet. And these kids now have a tool to improve their education. All around the country, we are delivering right now more than 2 million terminals, computers and tablets to public schools. Just 3 years ago when we started at this government, more than 13,000 schools had not seen even a computer. And today we have the whole country connected, and we've reached every single school with computers and tablets, and also with training to teachers and with content, especially design content for improving the quality of education. All what we do in Colombia in this plan, which is called Vive Digital, has a main objective: to reduce poverty thanks to technology. Why is that? Because that is the main objective of the whole government, reducing poverty. When we started this government just 3 years ago, more than 38% of Colombians, 38% of Colombians were under the poverty line. And we are working intensively every single day to reduce that poverty level in the country. And in just 3 years, we went from 38% to almost 32%. More than 2 million people have left poverty levels in Colombia in just 3 years. And we are working harder and harder to make sure that fewer people in Colombia are poor. But you have to realize one thing, that all these solutions, the kiosks in the middle of the jungle, the tablets of the kids in the public schools, the deployment of internet, especially in homes of poor people, they all use spectrum. Spectrum is a very, very, very important tool to achieve our goals. Spectrum is critical to give the industry and the government and our programs the right tools to reduce poverty. In Colombia, spectrum is very important. That's why we created the National Spectrum Agency, the ANE, a technical organization exclusively dedicated to the analysis and implementation of better and more efficient ways to use spectrum, working in coordination with the Ministry of ICT. We've been working with this agency for more than 3 years, and in this time, the country has seen a significant increment of the initiatives promoted by the government in order to improve spectrum management. Responding to the increasing demand for spectrum that characterizes our industry, as part of the Plan Vive Digital, we adopted back in 2011 a specific spectrum management policy that has paved the way for initiatives focused on attending the national needs in aspects like the availability for spectrum for all communication services, including a large portion for mobile services, frequencies required for national defense and public protection, international harmonization, promotion of common knowledge and spectrum on spectrum, and the formulation of a spectrum management framework aligned with best international practices. One of the most relevant results we've had in the implementation of this plan is the auction of LTE, or the 4G frequencies, that took place last June, in which we auctioned more than 190 megahertz of a total of frequencies that were assigned to 5 operators. So we took a market with 3 operators in 3G to 6 operators in 4G. Because for us, the best regulation is competition. For us, the best competition drives to better prices and better quality. So we doubled the number of players. So with this auction, we are taking Colombia to the 2nd place in Latin America on mobile spectrum assigned. This auction also generated close to $400 million in resources for the Universal Service Fund. And also, the operators that won this auction, they had the privilege to serve the rich areas of the country, the rich municipalities, the rich cities, but also they have the obligation to also deploy networks in every single town. In Colombia, we have more than 1,100 towns. And those operators, they all have the obligation to cover the whole country. As one of my colleagues say, this is like spreading the marmalade, the jam around the toast. I mean, we have to balance also the coverage of technology. So we are going to have good services in main cities and rich places, but also among all operators, they are going to cover the whole country. But we had a lot of challenges to do this auction. One of them was refarming. And you may ask how it will be possible to refarm this entire amount of spectrum in such a short time. On this regard, Colombia innovated by including the relocation of existing networks as part of the obligations of the auction participants, which in a year are committed to install and put into operation the technical solution for these networks in other frequency bands. We are also expecting to have the auction of spectrum on the digital dividend next year and continuing developing the industry and the mobile broadband in rural areas. However, we don't stop there. As part of the spectrum planning activities, we are already analyzing other frequency bands to be auctioned in 2015 so that we can cope with the expected demand for spectrum. In the case of Colombia, we've estimated to be very close to 1,000 megahertz, 1 gigahertz by 2019 of the month. After many years of just responding to the immediate needs related to spectrum, this rapid development of initiatives has been the result of the importance we have given to improving the way how we carry out spectrum management activities. One of the elements that Colombia got deeply involved in these participating international discussions, we have included among our objectives to be internationally recognized for our spectrum management practices. And I guess the last 3 years have made all the countries in the region more aware of the presence in Colombia in these scenarios. We have a very professional team at the Spectrum Agency, and we are going to keep working with them, making sure that spectrum management and spectrum management policies are kind of cared, are kind of a priority for the country. Because again, spectrum is key. It's key for the deployment of infrastructure, and it's key for the development of technology. But at the end, it's key to reach the goals of this government, which are reducing poverty, creating jobs, and making our economy grow. Thank you very much.